the Toronto Defiant have undertaken an aggressive rebuild after a somewhat underwhelming Season 4. With the sole survivor being Hisu, who are the ones to round out the team and support him. Can they bring home a trophy? I'll go over that today. If you don't want to stick around for the breakdown, here is the roster. On DPS they retained Hitsuken Hisu from last season, picked up Flex DPS Finale from the Uprising Academy and Flex DPS, although from Team BM and O2 Blast. On tank, they picked up main tank Muzz from the Los Angeles Gladiators and off-tank Hotba from the Philadelphia Fusion. On support, they picked up highly anticipated rookie main support Chorong from Talon Esports and flex support Twilight from the San Francisco Shock. For coaching, they have retained KTG and Yang1 from last season while picking up Mob Dyke from the Philadelphia Fusion. The breakdown starts now. The DPS line is arguably the worst part of their roster, which is pretty crazy considering this is actually a very competitive lineup. Hisu had some hard carry performances last year, especially on the Hanzo, and his Sombra and other Hitskins are top tier as well. As we've seen in 2020, if Hisu has a legitimately great team behind him he can be a monster. We saw some glimpses of that last year near the end. The Defiant seem to have a ton of faith in him as they rebuilt around him, so I'll get some of that hopium as well. However, Finale is an odd pickup. He isn't bad by any means, he is a solid player in North American contenders, though he was notable worse than Sam, and speedily he was still good. It's just that he doesn't quite measure up to the rest of the roster in terms of quality, in my opinion. Maybe KTG has faith he can develop into a better player, but I expect him to ride the bench most of the time for Aldo. Although he's actually a very good player. While he was on the horrendous 2020 London, he has since developed a very promising track record, playing with General G when they got second place in the Asian Gauntlet. Played with O2 Blast when they won Contenders Korea Season 1 and Team BM when they got fourth in Season 2, and his transfer was one of the main reasons for their improvement. I think he's a really exciting prospect if you're a Toronto fan. While I would still rate him below players like Proper, Hisang and even Adu, he definitely has potential to be top tier. I'm going to rate this DPS line an 8 out of 10. While I have questions about whether Finale and even although can live up to Hisu and the rest of the roster, it is still a very strong group of players. Next, the tank line. Muzz is crazy, we know this from the Glads, where he was standout on most main tanks other than Rain. While that Rain weakness hurt the team a tad, he was very good otherwise. He's a more passive main tank, he doesn't go for the big plays like maybe Fearless or Mag, he is similar in hero pool and play style as Fate, and is more flexible than someone like Gator or Mag. Plus I don't think his Rain is even terrible, it's just not up to part of the rest of the Reinhardt beasts in North America. I think he can probably learn Rain in a 5v5 context. And Hotba is maybe disappointing, I think there were better options available at the time, but he is still very solid. His Zarya was insane last year and his Dva and Sigma were solid. He supported his team and made space well even if he never stood out to me as an insane player on those heroes, plus he gives a veteran presence to some of these rookies. I give this tankline an 8 out of 10, Muzz is crazy on all main tanks but Rain and Hotba is solid at every off-tank other than maybe Roadhog. I think Muzz will continue to be a monster under KTG, though I feel he hasn't measured up to some other main tanks in the region. Next, the supports. Wow! This support line is insanity. Chorong is absurdly good, one of the top prospects heading into next year, supposedly had a big bidding war over him and has been cited by many as the new Leogigon. He is a nut, and the best main support coming out of contenders by far, sorry Dallas and Seoul. And paired with Twilight, I think this will be a top 5 duo in the league. Twilight has been consistently top tier since Season 2, and even before that with Runaway. He is top tier at every flex support in the game. The only real issue I have with this duo is that they don't have a dedicated flex support, and they are allegedly relying on Chorong to fill that role due to his pure mechanics. I hope it works out for them and doesn't just rot his ability to play main support, similar to Violet grinding main support last year. I have to give these guys a 9 out of 10, while I am concerned about double flex meters. These guys are too strong to move out of the top 5 range of support duos. Trust me, they are gonna pound finally. The coaching. They pretty much have the same coaching staff as 2020 Fusion. Need anything else? The team that had the best regular season roster in the league and was by far the second best team in North America. These guys are gonna be real good since they have a comparable roster to 2020 Fusion, if not better. I doubt these guys will do as well as 2020 Fusion, but you can expect good results. Then Yang Wan, honestly I'm not too high on. He was on the 2019 Vancouver Titans but failed to make much of a splash on the 2021 Toronto. Hopefully now that he has a solid coaching staff backing him up he can mesh better with the players. Overall 8 out of 10, while none of these coaches accomplished anything incredible last year, they were definitely elite in 2020. Slightly worrying, but still solid. Overall I give this roster an 8 out of 10. They have an extremely promising support line backed up by a solid though not groundbreaking DPS and tank lines, while having a historically effective coaching staff. These guys are exciting, and I could definitely see them upsetting some teams higher than them, maybe even slipping into an upper tier. Thanks for watching and remember to like and subscribe for more. I upload daily Overwatch League content and am trying to hit 100 subs by Season 5, so any subscription helps greatly. Thanks.